The other thing that's crazy to me that I always look at, because like at the racetrack, I see so many different like platforms and types of racing. Like there are guys that will come to FL2K with a Lambo or an R8 or GTR that have literally spent the same amount of money as a pro mod team that's going to come for snowbirds. And I don't think these guys realize that like they're spending that much money, and that like they could race at the snowbirds for 50 grand or US Street for 75 grand or World Series or Pro Mod for 150 grand for literally like about the same money.
Yeah, but the thing, it goes back to exactly what you said before. Like, I've told that to a couple of my customers, and they're like, yeah.
It's not a street car. Yeah.
Just like, no, but like, they're so invested in it, and that car has won this many races, and they want to go beat this guy or reset this record.
Well,
and
folks,
they just keep punishing themselves.
I got
to
news.
Do it.
If you get sick of changing GTR transmissions and engines and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to run 6-second quarter miles, Pro Mod's waiting for you.
Yeah, but to you,
or Pro 275.
For you as a drag racer, Pro Mod is alluring. But to somebody that's not a drag racer and they just want to race their car once or twice
Cooper,
a year.
These guys go to FL2K, TX2K, World Cup finals. They used to go to DCT World Cup. They go to a couple streetcar takeover events. They go to an IFO once or twice a year. They race just as much. Some of them have the stacker. Some of them, and they're paying a tuner in a shop to come and help them. They're refreshing engines. They're refreshing transmissions. They're already doing it.
But don't you?
They're doing it.
You don't need to sell Pro Mod anymore. There's 40 cars already signed up, right?
No, it's going to be more.
It's full.
We made a list the other day. Wes and I made a list of active Pro Mods between our 3 events last year, and then a couple that didn't race any of our 3 events, like new cars. It's like 100 active Pro Mods. Yeah, that we know of, and honestly, there might be more.
You might have to have like a qualifying before the like a week before
We're gonna
you
probably
show up, but you have to qualify.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We might even
or what
do
Jason
something.
Miller does, like send in a slip.
Yeah, we might do something too, where like we let some people with new cars like race their way in. We're still working out details, but we're working
on a lot
on
of cars on property.
Yeah, we're working on the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, so that'll be the Snowbirds, US Street, and World Series of Pro Mod. 50 grand to win, 75 grand to win, 150 grand to win. So like, sick race, huge stage for people to race. There's no other racing going on anywhere in the country those months. Everybody's watching. It's going to be really cool. But the hard part is, obviously you want to include as many people as possible, but you can't. Because like if we let all 100 Pro Mods in the country come and race, we would never finish the race. And the experience would just be terrible. Like you would just be sitting in your car for like 4 hours to make a pass. You know what I mean? Like it would just be terrible.
And it's not like the streetcar class at FL2K where if you just left it wide open, you'd have 12, 13-second cars. This is like, we're talking like 0.3 of a second split.
Not even.
At most, the slowest guy might be.
So like the last 3 races, it's been 1/10 or less from car 1 to car 32. It's like, for an example, we had a ladder once where it was like car number 1 went 358 and car number 32 went like 367 or something like that. And car number 33, 34, 35, 36 also went 367. It is insanely tight racing, which like that's awesome. Like the fan experience, the driver experience, like the experience that creates when the racing is that tight is absolutely insane. You can't mess up at all. The tune-up has to be perfect. You can't miss that. You can't sleep on the tree. You can't. I mean, you can lose so easily. But it just makes the win so much more worth it. I mean,
you always have to give such a round of applause to the rule maker in that deal. To make it that tight where somebody hasn't ran away.
And it takes many of us. Like the cool thing about that is that, so like when I first started doing Pro Mod events, I didn't really know much about it. So I would I would call John Sears and I would call other people and like get their opinion. And then I would, Bradenton was always known for coming up with their own rules. So, because it's an outlaw Pro Mod race, so and what's unique about our races is that we let all the different kind of combinations run together. So you'll see like PDRA does Pro Nitrous and Pro Boost. Well, here it's Pro Nitrous and Pro Boost. Like whatever you have, like we're all running together.
Yeah.
You can see a small block with a turbo, big block with a turbo, big block screw blower, big block roots blower, different kinds of blowers, centrifugal. You can see a diesel. Like we have rules for all of these things, and it's that close. But what's cool about it is that we all communicate. behind the scenes. So like, you know, we're looking at races right now. Mark Mickey just went 356 at 214. And like that's too fast for the class. Like, you know,
here's
not
20
that,
pounds.
Yeah, not that nobody can keep up. Like, you know, people can get there, but right now for the rule set that exists, he's too fast. So we got to bring him back in. And like we're always communicating with other rule makers and other sanctioning bodies and like, hey, we need your weight sheets and like what is this guy running this weekend and all that. And like that's the way that we achieve that. And what it does for the sport by us all like communicating and working together, it's amazing because, you know, it just creates a great winter series for us, and it sets the tone for the whole year. Because now you know going from World Series or Pro Mod to whatever the first race is after that, whether it's PDRA or Midwest Pro Mod or whatever, you know that it's going to be close racing. And if it's not, you know, not close enough, you know exactly what to do to make it close. And when you race for $150 or $150,000, nobody's holding back. Like you're going to see exactly what that combination is capable of. So it's just, I mean, it's been really cool. Like what it's done for the forecast of the sport is really cool.
Yeah, Pro Mod has really, like, watching away from NHRA is really exciting to me because the Outlaw Pro Mod, as you guys kind of more refer to it, because NHRA has their own flavor.
Yep.
That's a little more...
Yeah, it's different. I mean...
The turbo combinations don't really get in.
Yeah, like they're limited to like how much boost they can run. I believe they can only run 30 pounds of boost.
Yeah, so you don't see the turbo guys out there.
Yeah, and like, I mean, but also, I mean, so they run quarter mile, which I don't know that it would even be legitimately safe to run most of our Outlaw cars in quarter mile trim in a lot of the tracks because, they just would go so fast. But to give an example, you know, I went to Indy for NHRA last week, and they were, I think the fastest car went like a 576 in the quarter. Probably went, I think it was like a 384 or 85 in the eighth. We got guys going 350s and 360s. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but a 358 is probably like a 530. So we're talking 5/10 faster. So stopping that car and if you know, like, so there's a place for what the NHRA Pro Mod does. And it's awesome racing to watch. I was there just like wanting to get in a car and drive. Like it's amazing, but it's very, very different. And like a lot of those cars don't want to participate or can't always participate in the Outlaw Pro Mod stuff we do because it's so much work. Like they have to change everything to get from an illegal NHRA car to an Outlaw Pro Mod car.
So unless you have like a team, like like the team that Lyle races with, like where they can really turn a car around.
But like they don't want to do it. Like if they want to participate. So like if they don't have another car that they can, you know, race or whatever, that's an Outlaw car, they'll do it. But like you don't want to do it. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. And then after that, you have to reset up and refigure out the entire combination in the car. Like it's not the same car anymore.
Yeah, and changing around. How do you slow down like somebody like Mark? Because like the turbo combination's a little funky.
It is, yeah. So weight is the like the go-to usually, but the reality is we probably have to limit the turbo size for the turbocharged Pro Mod stuff.
Interesting. That's tough.
Yeah,
because they're already kind of limited to turbo that they can run. There's not as many options as like once you get to that size.
Yeah, I mean the best thing would be if there was like part numbers that we can just put in the rule book, like that you have to run this part number, but even that can be fudged. Mm-hmm. So we just have to come up with like exact turbo specs that they can run and limit them there. Because like, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend Mark's car is 2675. So 2,675 pounds with twin 98 millimeter turbos and a lockup. The certification of the chassis, he can't be more than 2,800 pounds. And realistically, a turbo car, you'd have to put like 75 pounds on him to get him probably where it needs to be, or 50. And now you're almost past the certification of the chassis. If he he figures it out and goes that fast again, what do? You can't continue to add weight. It just won't be safe at a certain point.
Well, there's even some, I hear all the time, it's like, oh, if you add some weight, you actually load down the turbo cars and they end up making a little bit more power.
Turbo cars, not necessarily, but like they definitely don't react the same to weight as like a nitrous car would. Like you put 25 pounds on a nitrous car, you're slowing it down a lot.
Yeah.
You put 25 pounds on a turbo car, it might run the same. Like it may just run the same. So it's tricky. It's a science. But the racers and the sponsors and like everybody who puts up the money to participate and to compete, they rely on us to figure it out, and we have to figure it out. It's important that we do. That's how we built this whole thing.
Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.